It will come on. Hello, good evening and welcome to the UPfront. This show cuts through the spin and bring you unadulterated facts on the most important issues of relevant to everybody in this country and with the relevant people, of course. Today, we unravel the mystery behind this $2.25 billion bond Ghana recently issued. We do know that Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta appeared before Parliament to present full documentation on government's recent controversial $2.25 billion bond. The minority has accused the Minister of Conflict of Interest, claiming he sold majority of the bond to a firm owned by his former business partner. The minority also claimed he had caused a $5 billion financial loss to the state in that transaction. What minority leader in what is supposed to be a special process known as half-hour motion compelled the House to actually ask the Finance Minister to come to the House today. He did. He gave some details. Are they pleased? We'll be asking those questions after this short break. My name is Raymond Dakwa. You're welcome back. This is the UPfront, and our conversation today, as I did tell you prior to this particular break, is to get to appreciate exactly what is the problem with a $2.25 billion bond, and why is it that the minority seem not to be appeased by the very words of the Finance Minister they dragged out of his family funeral to come tell them what this bond is about. One very person who's been leading this charge with a lot of facts on this particular matter is former Deputy Finance Minister. He's also a member of Parliament. He actually raised questions on the floor of Parliament. If you did watch that particular transaction earlier on JoyNews, he'll be telling us exactly what the issue is about. And as you know, UPfront would confront him with the facts and the counterfactuals in this particular case. You're welcome, sir, to the UPfront.
Thank you.
Kesela Tuforsin is actually my guest here in the studio. Honorable, the understanding we have of this is that you asked for three things. And of course, this is the first time you pursued this particular issue. First and foremost, you did a press conference. You moved beyond the press conference to petition the Securities and Exchange Commission in the United States of America. Then also a member of the NDC, which is pursuing this particular matter, went to Shraj. Shraj gave some May 5th deadline for response from the Finance Minister. He asked for 15 days on May 11th, and subsequent to that, we understand that this particular 16-page response has already been given. Today, you dragged him before the House today to give you some more details. Have you been satisfied by the issues he raised on the issuance, the participation, and also the utilization of the $2.25 billion generally?
Not at all. I'm not satisfied.
I mean, ordinarily you expect the minority to actually have problems, have their say with everything that government actually does. But beyond the usual politicking, were you giving specific information you asked for?
Let me take you through one by one. I was very disappointed today. Disappointed not in the name of politics, but disappointed because I think that the minister responsible for finance and the Ministry of Finance had a wonderful opportunity to settle the controversies around the issuance of the $2.25 billion bond once and for all. But they failed. They failed because we were specific. We asked for full complement of documentation. I'll give you one example. We asked for the prospectus. This is what he gave to us, the prospectus for the $2.25 billion bond. He gave us something for September 2016. This bond was not issued in 2016. This is a generic, what you call prospectus. No date, no sign, book building options, nothing is there. In fact, this is a general guideline.
And to be clear, this was issued by the government you were part of?
No, this was issued, this is what he gave to us.
2016,
this is what he gave to us.
Yes.
It's a guideline. It's not a prospectus. So we asked for the prospectus surrounding the issuance of the bond, and we had nothing. Two, let me be specific. The minister even made things worse.
Before you go to that, can you read me the part of the half-hour motion that insisted that you wanted the prospectus?
Look, if you look at our half-hour motion, we talk of four complements of the documentation.
Yes.
Okay. One, we talked about the fact that we want to know the term sheet. Okay. It's the prospectus that will give you that information. And this is what he gave to us.
Did you state categorically that
this is what he gave to us?
I'm asking whether he stated categorically
but
you wanted
full
the
documentation is the prospectus, the main documentation for the issuance of the bond.
Okay. So
prospectus is the main documentation. The bid document is the prospectus.
Yeah.
So until we have that, we have nothing. So, but he gave us some prospectus, but it's not prospectus. Please, we are not ignorant. We read. So he can't just bring this, dated September 2016, a prospectus.
Which has your signature on it.
It has no signature, but has a date. It has no signature.
It has your name on it.
Where's the name? It has no name. What's that? There's nothing. You can have a look.
But it's not by the same groupings you're talking about. Talking about Barclays,
no, but is this what they used to issue?
And also
is this the prospectus? This is not the prospectus. So where is the prospectus? Where is the prospectus? That's what we're asking.
Okay.
Where is the bid document?
So you're saying that he didn't give you the prospectus.
Yes.
He also did not give you the kind of prospectus you asked for. Were you very clear on the one you wanted?
He failed to give us prospectus. The prospectus relating to the issuance of this particular bond. Where is the documentation referencing this particular bond? Where's the document?
Which detail did you want that you didn't get?
Okay.
On the issuance specifically.
Let me take you through a number of things. We asked for the bid document. We asked for the prospectus. We asked for the original agreement. We asked for the issuance calendar, which he provided some information. So now, since I'm on the issuance calendar, let me take you through the issuance calendar. He gave us two appendices. One relating to the issuance of a bond. And what he said was that the calendar dated January 5th, that was published on the Bank of Ghana website, is here. That calendar was clear that there was no 7-year bond and 15-year bond issuance, 10-year, 7-year bond. Yeah, we're not going to issue that. That is what he provided. And he termed it Appendix 9. He went on to say that on the 30th of March 2017, they issued another issuance calendar for the month beginning April for the second quarter. Okay. This bond, you know, if you look at the date, 30th of March, that was when he prepared and signed it. This issuance calendar is supposed to take effect from 1st of April, but the bond transaction actually started on the 30th of April and closed on the 31st of April. The issuance around 5:37 p.m. when they issued the issuance guideline. They contend that they closed the transaction on the 31st of March.
They contend that they actually closed on the settlement date.
No, it's not correct. Please, nobody should try and put dust in the eyes of the people of this country. The minister responsible for finance considered today that indeed they closed the transaction on the 31st. He has a document on the 31st.
So you're saying that it didn't close on the settlement date?
No, the settlement date is when you only make a payment. Because it fell on a Friday, you have to make the payment on the next day.
But the chairman of your committee insisted that it closed on the settlement date.
Please.
The chairman of your committee has been in the Bank of Ghana. He's actually worked there for a very long time and will be very much aware of the process.
Let me tell you something. This transaction was not done by Bank of Ghana. So he has no idea about it. This transaction, I've heard commentary, people saying that Bank of Ghana was involved. Nothing. Bank of Ghana was not involved in this transaction. They only received it in government account. That is the road.
Did the Bank of Ghana publish a calendar for the second quarter and issue notices on all of these
Bank of Ghana, after the minister responsible for finance issued the second quarter guideline dated 30th March to take effect on 1st of April, published it.
Yeah.
Yes. But you are telling me you issue something, a guideline for 30th. At the time you have started the processes of issuing another bond. You close the bond, the transaction on the 31st, and you claim that this something that happened in the second quarter. You are using something that happened in the first quarter. You are using second quarter issuance calendar to apply to that. Is that the case?
You have a problem with the initial pricing guidelines.
Yes.
What's the problem with that?
The problem is that the initial pricing guideline was issued around 5:37 p.m. and the bond was actually open around 9 a.m. the next morning. And
why is that problem directed at the Ministry of Finance?
No, it's who else? Who else?
But they don't issue it, do they?
Who else? They don't issue it?
Yeah.
But let me tell you, the book builders are
only
performing a function on behalf of the Ministry of Finance. They're only performing a function. You can delegate, but please, you can't put the responsibility.
The book runners and the transactional advisors, are they not licensed by the Bank of Ghana?
They can be licensed by Bank of Ghana.
Yes, so are they not supposed to be carrying out independent work in this particular case?
Some of them are licensed by Bank of Ghana, but others are licensed by Securities and Exchange Commission.
But we know these three, the Barclays Bank, the Strategic African Securities and Stanbic Bank, are they not licensed by the Bank of Ghana?
SAS, they are not licensed by Bank of Ghana. They are licensed by Securities and Exchange Commission of this republic. Okay? So they are not licensed by Bank of Ghana. And I hear the Bank of Ghana argument. I laugh off.
No, you think that it is still the problem to do with the Ministry of Finance when indeed these regulations are issued by these, book runners?
Who else? Who else? Who else do you want us to blame?
Okay, so you have a problem with the public announcement on the 30th of March.
Yes.
What's the problem with that?
The problem is simple. You make public announcement around 9 o'clock. You close the transaction and announce to the people of this country that, yes, you are successful with the transaction. And by 4:20, you issue the issuance summary. We think that it's not competitive enough. The timing is too short to be able to raise 2.25 billion US dollars.
Is there any law breach in the process?
It's not about laws. It's
is
about
there any regulation?
It is about the fact that
is there any guideline? Sorry, forgive me, but is there any guideline breached?
Yes, I will get there. I'll give you one guideline.
Which one is that?
One guideline is that the GIFM rule is clear, that if you raise a domestic bond and you settle it in US dollars, it's against the GIFM rule.
I'm talking about the time of raising and closing the bond.
Yes, what I can tell you for sure is that looking at the past, the book building approach, there's no day that we've opened a book building transaction. We build a book in the morning, we start 9 o'clock, and by 12 o'clock we close the book and announce
so
it. Sometimes we open it for 2-3 days.
So it might be incongruous with what has happened in times past.
Incongruous of what?
It might be incongruous with what has happened in times past. Does it mean it breached a rule?
I can tell you it means that it wasn't competitive, and if it was competitive, Ghana would be better off. So we think that Ghanaians have been shortchanged because of lack of competition.
Okay, so I mean, you're thinking that because that particular space was not given, Ghanaians have been shortchanged.
Yes, but how can you raise 2.25 billion in an auction within 4 hours? Never happened in the
they said, I mean, that's what they say is historic. Do you have a problem with that?
It's historic because we see things smelly in it. We are worried.
That's
because
perception,
it's not about perception. It's confirmed.
That's
some of the things that we are saying. It's not about speculation. Let's go back to basics, and it's simple. Today, the minister, I'll show you something. I'll point you one thing. Let me point you something.
Forgive me.
In the book building approach, we have here.
I need to get this clarified.
Yes.
You say that I didn't breach any rule.
Yes.
You say I didn't breach any regulation.
I'm not talking of rules. I'm not going to regulations
now. You're talking about not breaching any law.
I'm talking to you that
was
indeed,
not competitive.
I'm telling you that the GIFM rule was breached. The GIFM rule that you cannot raise a domestic bond and settle it in US dollars has been breached.
What does that got to do with the timing?
Oh, you think so?
Oh, no, but you think so? About timing. We moved into the currency in this case.
I've told you. See, let me tell you something. Book building approach is a novelty. It's a new approach introduced by the Honorable Setepe. Okay? That we will issue the bond using the stock exchange.
Okay.
And in doing that, what we're going to do is simple. We'll do the normal, what do you call the Eurobond approach. You do a roadshow, you open the book, 2 days, 3 days, you close it and you conclude.
Okay.
Never.
There's no firm rule on the 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, it's a novelty. Okay. It's a novelty. It's a new one.
Yeah.
And then I'm telling you that this is very, very different from what has happened in the past. Okay. Very different.
Now, let me understand this. I mean, in November 2015, the process that was established as far back in November 2015, and it actually was used in times past for 3 to 15-year bonds. Which part of that process was breached in this case?
Which one are you talking about?
I'm talking about the process which was used in actually the period you're talking about, 31st
November?
Yes.
November
2015.
Yes.
Yes. Was there any part of that particular process breached?
What happened in November 2015? Nothing. No, November 2015, you are talking of the book building approach?
Yes.
No process was breached. You have it.
And I'm just saying that.
Nothing. So if you are to compare, you see, you are even making it worse. If you are to compare what happened in November 2015 when we issued a 5-year bond to this, you see the vast difference.
The difference in terms of timing?
In terms of timing.
And the problem is that this was done faster.
So you think you find it so easy, you think it's that easy that you open a bond, 4 hours somebody come and put in 2.25 billion? Is that what you think it is that easy?
Is it not?
I'm telling you, it's even serious, and that's what I want to point you to something. Look at the 15-year bond order book. This is the order book.
Okay.
This is what the minister gave to us. And you know my concern. Look at the order book. The 15-year bond, the order built up to 3.42 billion.
Okay.
Okay? And then the 7-year bond, the order put together is about 1.4 billion.
What's the problem
If you add the two order books, what is the total? The total is 4.8 billion. They raised 9.7 billion. So what has he submitted to Parliament? Where is the rest of the money? How did they build the order? This is the order book. This is what he gave to us, coming from the Ministry of Finance.
So there's
the same appendix. There's huge differentials. The order books, in fact, from what we have,
and did you ask him this question?
I asked him this question.
What was his answer to the question?
He has not answered me, because it wasn't a questions and answer session. Okay, it was a statement, and I contributed to the statement. That is my concern. You have the two. One is Appendix 7, and one is Appendix 8. It's here. This is what he gave to us. It's even worse. Worse. And that let me even think about it, that, hey, there's more to it than what we are even concerned about. Okay,
that's interesting to note. But, I mean, when there is a difference in the other books, what law or rule are we talking about in this case, which is being breached?
You see, I'm surprised you keep dwelling to laws and rules and
because
all of
at the end
that.
of the
Let me
day,
tell you something.
The most important part is beyond
something.
the engagement.
Okay.
You have to show proof.
I will tell you one single.
This is a
breach of the Constitution.
Okay. Which part of the Constitution?
Article 1815. And I can tell you that this transaction is an international economic transaction, and it should have come to Parliament under Article 1815. It is a private placement and cannot be construed as if it's part of a bond issue or an auction. It can't be the case. So Article 1815, which is superior to any law in this country, has been breached.
They have disagreed on this particular matter, I'm sure.
So what is the issue?
Yeah,
what have they said?
My only difficulty is that because they've disagreed on the matter before, I mean, you've not gone to court.
So I shouldn't speak about it?
No, I'm not saying so. I'm just saying that you've not gone to court to seek to enforce this particular rule. So making the point consistently does not make it right, does it?
Oh, it makes it right. You see, at this stage we are raising issues. Okay. And at the right time we advise ourselves as to what we have to do.
But you're already before Shraj. You're already before
going
the
to Shraj,
SEC.
Going to Shraj, that doesn't mean you cannot seek remedy under Article 1815.
I get your point, but my
there are two
understanding
differences. We've gone to Shraj under the conflict of interest issue, Article 284 of the Constitution. So that's a different matter.
Yeah.
Okay. And if we think that Article 1815 of the Constitution has been breached, we can go to the court to seek for interpretation.
Did you just realize that? Did the minority just realize that Article 184 was also part of the problem today?
We haven't. We've said this in the earlier press statement we made. This information was out there, and everybody knows about it.
Okay. And up till now, you are still waiting to get some more information before you proceed to pursue that case?
You see, we thought, and that's why I said I started by saying that we thought that the finance minister had a wonderful opportunity to appear before this honorable house, the August House, Parliament today, to deal with the issues once and for all. But hey, based on the document that we received, I'm not satisfied. I'm not convinced.
So is your problem with the fact that the documents are not genuine or they are incomplete?
Let me tell you something. If you ask for a prospectus and you have an unsigned prospectus for 2016, something that you have dots and dot, dot, dot and all of that, how will you term it? Give me an answer. Based on what you think, that's what I think.
I've not reviewed the document.
So look at it, and then give me an answer. What you
so
think
in your normal practice, what do you term this document? Is it,
how will you term it yourself?
It's not complete?
It's not, whatever it is. Whatever you term it, I'm telling you that this documentation.
Okay, so you pointed out to him and asked for more documentation?
Yes, we did that, because this is not what we asked for. This is for 2016.
You had a difficulty with the participation too. The finance minister in some part indicated that there's a certain element to it that the investors' details cannot be revealed, mindful of the secrecy involved. You didn't accept that?
I take it with a pinch of salt.
Why not?
I tell you, because this bond is tradable. And seriously, if you go to the issue, the information should be made public. It should have been public at the CSD, Central Securities Depository. As we speak, it's not available. And why is it that he cannot provide this information to the people's representative of this republic? I think it's bad.
What
participants?
Really
so are you telling me that they cannot give out the participant?
Really
we want to know those who participated and their holdings. And he's saying that it's market
sensitive. Has that information been provided
it's market sensitive
before?
And they can't provide it.
Has that information been provided before?
This information in the past it's a public document. It's a public information. You can go to the CSD and get information as long as the bond is tradable.
Okay.
The bond is tradable, and you can get that information.
That's interesting, but you had no concerns about 95% going to Franklin Templeton?
We had no, but you see, we raised a simple question. Our question was, can he provide us who the participants are, the list of who the participants are? And as we speak, we've not had any answers. So we think that failure to provide us with certain answers, we are more concerned about the processes, and we think that going forward, he should provide us that information. Okay, so you're asking for more information. Failure to provide that? Well, it is not for one single individual to decide, it's for the House to decide, and we will keep on pushing. On the utilization, you also had difficulties. I mean, utilization basically means what the money will be used for. What was exactly the problem with what the finance minister said? The finance minister, I've heard him speak in various fora, and he said that they are using the proceeds for the purposes of switching the existing debt, and it is not going to add to the public debt. So what we're asking was simple. We want him to come before the House, give us an idea how much money, the proceeds, how he's going to use it. But today, he was specific. He said so far, he has used 2.5 billion US dollars to take over some short-term debt. And going forward, he will use the remainder to take over some short-term debt. And he has used 1.1 billion Ghana cedis for the purposes of financing the budget. He was also quick to add that it's not going to add to the budget, it's going to add to the debt stock. And I said that, Mr. Minister, I beg to differ. I beg to differ because, one, the 1.1 billion that you claim you have used to finance the budget, you are using to finance the deficit, and it's going to add to the debt. So it is not true that you will not add to the debt stock. Number two, he's saying that he's borrowing 19.75 to take over some short-term debt. Short-term debt. You know what it means? Let me use the yield curve immediately after the bond was issued. So I'm using the yield curve for the month of April 17th. And the yield curve, I'm sure the majority today gave you the indication that... No, they are using today's yield curve. As of today at 12, it makes the case even worse. It makes the case even worse going forward. What it is that, so I'm being charitable here. The case is that you are borrowing at 19.75, and you are using it to substitute a debt of 16.30. The period doesn't matter? It doesn't matter. 15 years? It doesn't matter. One is 15, it's a long term. Okay? So when you do that, what it means is that you are borrowing expensive to take over very less expensive debt. So what he has done is simple. Normally, he could have easily decided to do rollover. He would say rollover risk, but rollover risk, for me, it's concentration risk is more severe than rollover risk. So what he's saying is that he's borrowed at 19.75 to reduce a debt that is selling at a coupon of 16.30. What he would have done easily is to wait when any time there was rollover, it falls due, you roll them over. What he has done, he's causing a loss to the state of 330 million per annum if he has to use it. But I was surprised to hear. The way you actually posit that concentration risk in this, I mean, because 95% is going to one person. Correct. I mean, it's more serious than rollover risk. When the man you say is also in a conflict of interest position because his friend or partner seems to be the one taking it, would it not be the best assurance you can get when his friend or partner is actually his enterprise the one taking over this one? So you are conceding that is his friend? That's the basis that you make. Fine, but so let me tell you. If you are proceeding on that basis, why would you still make an argument that... This is a 15-year bond. Yeah. I'm not aware that the finance minister is going to continue as finance minister for 15 years. So at any point in time. May or may not be, yeah. I'm not aware. Okay, for 15 years, a long time. Okay, 15 years, a long time. That we have actually gone to take a facility because of friendship. And at any point in time, even if their friendship situation get bad, it can affect the country. I think it's even worse. We shouldn't go there. The concentration risk issue is a severe matter that we have to digest it carefully. You are doing some analysis as to how much we are losing. We are losing 330 million Ghana cedis per annum.
And how do you calculate that?
Yes, simple. Look at minus, 19.75 from the 16.30 at the time. So if you use it, and it's even worse now. Worse because now they are saying it's 12-something%. Let's even say for the
Sorry, but I need you to
book.
have a bit of time. I need you to run me through the process if you're okay. Yeah.
Okay, so let me take it. Today he's saying that he borrowed at 19.75 short term, and he's using it to take over a debt at 12.5%. So the difference between 19.75 and 12% is how many percent savings? In excess of 7%.
Yeah.
So 7.25. So Ghana would have been better off if we roll over at 12% than for us to use a debt that is 19.75 to take over a debt that is 12.5. So we could have easily saved 12.5%, 7.5% or 7.25% of 2.25 billion US dollars CD equivalent. So 7.5% of 9.7 billion will give you how much? That is even serious. What I did, I was even very charitable. What I've done is to look at the difference between 19.75 and that of the 16.30. That is giving me 330 million. For 15 years, it's giving you 5 billion. And it's even worse than that. Worse because, one, what the minister said is that, as we speak, he has not used the entire money for switching. But which he cannot.
But to the extent,
I'll tell you something.
I'll come to that. But to the extent that, I mean, when you talk about the April yield curve, we're talking about 91-day being around 16.35 or 16.7. Yes, it's come down. Is the same fluctuation not likely to make it better by the time that's what they call it?
I beg to differ. I beg to differ because the rate that we borrowed the long term is too expensive. And we could have had a better deal.
So any other fluctuation or improvement is not likely to make us get the benefits that the finance ministry is making reference to.
Looking at the last 12 months, the 91 days, 182 days has been declining steadily. Steadily. And it's built to reduce even further. And you're of the opinion that I'm of the opinion that we could have even made better deal for Ghana if we do simple rollover. By cutting off at the right time, and to let the market know that you are not just hungry for money and you just want to borrow. That can be done. And that is why in the last year, let me even put in the last 18 months, the T-bill rate is coming down steadily. But they applaud themselves. The government of the Republic of Ghana applauds itself for being the one, and it's because of this particular bond that we've seen the drop from the 16 to the 12%. How are you opposed to that? And that is why I said in the last 18 years, I don't have the chart here. I would have shown you 18 months, you would notice the trend, downward trend coming in. You see, there are times that with the T-bill rate in the last 18 months has been better than that of Bank of Ghana monetary policy rate. So you see the bond is not responsible for that? Yes, it's not responsible. But let me say that I have been charitable because the minister conceded in his statement that a chunk of the money is still sitting down. At this time, he has borrowed with that expensive rate. Our interest is accruing, or we are paying interest. At the same time, he has not done the switching, and we are paying the interest on the existing debt. So, you're saying we borrowed too much? No, let me tell you something. You have existing debt. This is the debt you have at X rate. This is the new debt. You are saying you are taking off this debt to take off this one. Yeah. You haven't done it yet. How many months? As we speak, this is accruing interest. This is accruing interest. So you pay interest on both? You are paying double interest. So instead of the rollover, I would have actually given you so you are paying double interest. So if you don't need it, why did you go out there to borrow that chunk of money? Knowing that you cannot do that within a day to substitute a debt of 2.25 billion. What will be the monetary policy implication? There's a law on woefully causing financial loss to the state. Do you think that what is happening now is akin to that particular law and will suffice under any prosecution of that law? I don't want to go there at this stage. I've raised the issue because it doesn't apply. No, it's not about that. I'm not here because I'm not saying it doesn't apply. It's for the lawyers to decide. But let me tell you, I'm raising the issue because the statement the finance minister made to Parliament, it was clear that he's made a savings of 600 million Ghana cedis as a result of using the debt to switch existing debt. So I was just doing a quick arithmetical calculation to find out where the savings are coming from. I don't know where the kind of mathematics is that. But
did you ask him that question?
I asked that question on the floor today. Where is it coming from? How is he making 600 million savings? 600 million savings as a result of this? Impossible. On what basis?
You are very convinced that this is a very bad deal.
Yes.
You also allege that it's because it's being specifically tailored to suit one person's interest.
Yes.
And that's conflict of interest.
Yes, we've raised the conflict of interest issue. And Shraj is looking at that matter.
And the crux of your conflict of interest argument specifically is what?
I think we've made that point time and time again. I don't want to go back into it as long as it's with Shraj and Shraj is doing their work. But it's clear that a relational interest has been established between the finance minister and his associate, his friend, Franklin, Trevor, who is a director of Franklin Templeton. So we've made that point time and time again.
And in your fact to support, say, mindful of what has happened in time, you remember the case between Okujato Ablakwa and two others together versus the Attorney General Obichebe Lamte. In that particular case, it was said that even though the pronouncement of the Supreme Court turned on abuse of discretion by a public officer, having declined jurisdiction on the issue of conflict of interest, the test opined that the court may prove useful in establishing conflict of interest if, one, the law under which the complaint is brought to court, this law may be constitutional, statutory, or legislative. If the law is constitutional and is brought under Article 23, 35, and 2096, what must follow be established? The capacity of the decision maker. He must be a public officer or administrative officer if the complaint is brought under Article 2. Did the decision maker make any profit from the decision or provide the basis for conflict of interest or economic gain? Can you establish that? The finance minister made, one, profit from the decision or provide basis for conflict of interest or anything.
If I start talking about this conflict of interest issue, we'll not finish today.
Now, I just wanted to know, but
we've sent it to Shraj. Let's allow Shraj, let us allow the commission to look at it and report.
Okay, so you don't want to talk about it?
Yes. But I'm looking at the technicalities surrounding the bond issue, and I'm not satisfied. At least the issue relating to conflict of interest is before Shraj, and Shraj is looking at it.
That's interesting. So now you established that it is a bad deal. You also established that it's a deal that Ghana should not have gone in the first place. What do you want them to do, government?
You see, what we wanted government to do today was basically something simple. We asked for the full complement of the document. We were specific. We wanted those who participated. We wanted to find out the currency that was used to settle. The deputy governor, in appearing before Parliament, was clear. He said the matter, the currency used in settling was US dollars. And as we speak, the amount is in government account. The minister appeared before Parliament today and was specific that they used Ghana cedis. So as we speak, who is actually telling us the truth? We are confused. We don't know what the minister is actually telling, whether that is the truth or what the deputy governor, in appearing before the Public Account Committee, what he said is the truth. But the minister has been fairly consistent, at least
consistent
on what?
On this particular, what they call it, the city involved.
Yes.
If you do recall, when the minister issued this statement on the Bank of Ghana's website, it talked about the securities which were issued, which indeed, according to the regulations, it mentioned according to the Bank of Ghana, which should be denominated in the local currency, and all payments are required to be made in Ghana cedis. So he was mindful of that way back then.
That is why we insisted we wanted to look at the prospectus. If we had had the prospectus, all of this issue would be unraveled. So why is it that the prospectus, we are not receiving the prospectus? So we needed the prospectus because it is only the prospectus that will settle this matter. So until we get the prospectus, we are handicapped. We are handicapped to put this matter to rest. So simple, the minister should provide us the prospectus, and using the prospectus, we'll be able to know what is there and what is not in.
So this prospectus, what case is it supposed to make for you specifically?
The prospectus will at least let us know the amount, the currency that they used in settlement. We will be able to know whether at any point in time when they are going to repatriate the currency, Ghana will actually secure them the forex. Number 3, we will be able to identify whether in redeeming we are going to pay premium and many more.
Okay.
That's what I can say for now.
And you don't think that his answers he gave in the House today satisfied all of these queries that you wanted?
Are you going to substitute what he said to prospectors?
Not necessarily.
Is that what you want to say?
The issues raised clearly were supposed to be.
Where is the prospectus? We want documentation proof.
Did he say he'll provide it to you?
No.
Because in this final statement, he said that all other documentation, if any, would actually be provided to you.
Okay, so let's hope it comes before us.
In the meantime, what else can you do to, if nothing at all, review this project process?
I think what we can do is have meeting with the leadership of the House, and the leadership will decide the way forward.
As in the minorities' leadership?
No, the entire leadership of the House.
But the majority was very clear that they got all the answers they wanted. You heard the defense from your committee chairman. You heard the majority leader also speak. You heard all the others who defended it.
They may not have seen the document themselves, so if they see the document, they will come to realization what I'm talking about.
You think they've not reviewed these documents?
No, I don't think so.
Will you go to court?
Too early.
Why?
We're still reviewing the documentation.
But you're convinced that there's a breach of the laws?
We are convinced that this is indeed a private placement and not a bond issuance.
Even when you are now reviewing the documents?
We are at this point, that is what I can confirm.
And that's not enough to go to court on?
That's what I'm saying, it's so early. Let us keep doing our consultations, and at the right time we'll let you know.
Because people have a difficulty with the minority always raising questions and not taking it to the extent that it ought to be taken.
Right.
In this particular case, if you allege that we are going to be losing a lot of money in the process, you are in a position to save us a lot of money in that particular process too.
I'm surprised you have an issue with the minority that has been bold to raise an issue. We said we're going to SEC. I thought you were rather going to say that we're doing what is required of us.
Yes, just that the minority is supposed to responsibility to also pursue the interests of the public.
That is the beginning. So we are loyal to the people of this country.
So will you ever go to court?
At a point, when we think we have to go to court, we will go to court.
When you say when you think, you have established there is a lot of...
I'm saying that we're doing further consultation.
That you have any evidence to suggest this
don't put words in my mouth. What I said is that we are doing further consultations, and at the right time, we'll go to court.
So you will surely go to court?
I've said we are doing further consultation, and at the right time. So based on the outcome of the consultation, we may go to court or may not go to court.
Okay, so that means you don't have enough now to go to court?
Let me tell you. We've asked for a document. We've not received it. So we need a document to establish a point.
So it means that at this point, we've received saying things without basis?
No, we are saying, but when the minister was asked to come and give us a document, where is it?
So he didn't give you the document?
So we are not saying things without basis. If he doesn't have something to hide, why is he hiding it? Why is he hiding the document that we've asked for if you have nothing to hide?
He says you provided the document.
But he has the opportunity to provide it today.
Being bold in saying that this is what's done wrong, this has also been done wrong, when you don't have documents to back it.
We have been bold to ask questions. We've been bold to say that it is not in the issuance calendar. We've had answers that yes, it is not in the issuance calendar. We've been bold to talk about the participant. We've asked the minister to come forward and provide us the participant. He said no, he can't give us the participant. So what else?
I'm giving to understand that my time is almost up, but I'm just wondering whether indeed you would ever go to court because you have a history of raising issues and not going to court.
Well, I don't think so. I don't think this minority has a history of raising issues that we've threatened to go to court and we haven't gone to court.
Which one have you gone to court on?
We're in the process.
On the issue to do with the breach of the local government act and other, have you gone to court?
As we speak.
Have you gone to court?
As we speak, our lawyers are working on the brief to go to court.
But you've not gone to court yet?
Yes, but you see, it's not easy to put up a Supreme Court brief and go to court. We are going to go to court.
Some do it earlier than that, but my only difficulty...
I can confirm to you, for that particular matter, the minority is going to go to court.
But not this particular one, because you don't have any other documentation.
I'm telling you that we are still gathering the documentation. At the right time, after doing the consultation, we will go to court or may not go to court based on the outcome of the
my guest is a very wonderful person. Unfortunately, I've run out of time. So, Kessel Atufos is a member of parliament, and he's also a former deputy finance minister. He's a smart man when it comes to finance, but the minority is yet to go to court on this particular matter. They've raised serious questions that will be interrogating with the majority. Maybe tomorrow, when we come again for another edition of the UPfront here. My name is Raymond Alqua. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you.